chapter. The name of chapter is Bills of Exchange. Now, before we start with the accounting perspectives of it, first of all, we need to know something regarding what Bills of Exchange is, how it actually works, and why its accounting is very much important. So, this is the first class on Bills of Exchange. Now, the first thing that came to your mind that what this Bills of Exchange is. So let me tell you one thing that these bills of exchange are nothing but a type of negotiable instrument covered under Negotiable Instrument Act. In India, we have a specific act for this as for which all types of negotiable instruments are dealt with. Now what negotiable instruments are? Negotiable word generically, although the act doesn't specifies or defines anything in this regard. But if I ask you that what negotiable can be, remember that this negotiable means exchangeable, something that you can exchange with others against goods or against services or against any type of item, a product or a service, anything. The instruments that can be exchanged with others for payment purposes. That means for making payments, if you can exchange these instruments with others, we call it as negotiable instrument. Now under this negotiable instrument, we have a number of instruments like we have promissory notes, we have checks, which is also a negotiable instrument, and we have bills, bills of exchange. So we know that what we do with checks, we have already studied about this accounting with cash book. Promissory notes can only be issued by government. Nobody apart from government can issue promissory note. So that will be separately dealt if you will get the chance to study those areas. Now we would like to know that what we do with this bills of exchange generally. So now the time we start with this, first of all, we need to know that what this bills of exchange actually means. So see, as per Negotiable Instrument Act, the definition that was given for bills of exchange, it says that bills of exchange is a type of instrument, a instrument in writing which contains an unconditional order by the maker. What this order is about, this order is directed, it directs a certain person to pay a certain sum of money either only to or on the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument if the instrument is blank. Okay, if the name of the receiver is specified on it, then we'll always consider that this bill will be paid to him, or if that person wants, he can further exchange it with some other person. Therefore we have written this word that on the order of such person. So remember what terms we need to know. First, sir, it's an instrument, instrument in writing which has an unconditional order. That means you cannot specify a condition here that this payments will be made on fulfillment of this condition. Like for example, if I write an instrument where I say that I'll pay suppose to a particular person this much amount of money on the event of death of some other person. Like for example, if I say that suppose if I write that I will pay rupees 1000 to Virat if he kills Rohit. The time you put this if, it means that there is a condition. This type of conditions cannot be there. Okay. What cannot be there? This type of conditions cannot be there. Now this bills of exchange was properly explained under section 5 of Negotiable Instrument Act, which was passed in the year 1881. Now, from this definition, we got some basic features that first, this is a written instrument. Unconditional order should be there. It should have been signed by the maker. It directs one person. That means, like if you draw a check, what you are doing? Suppose, have you seen the checks? What we do uh, on the very first, like checks are also a type of negotiable instrument, but they are somewhat different from bills of exchange. On the top here it is written pay. The amount is specified here. Here suppose I signed. So in this case, suppose this check is of SBI. So what I am doing, I am specifying SBI that pay this person this much amount of money and it has been signed by the maker. The similar type of things is done with bills of exchange. So what features we got from here? First, sir, written instrument containing unconditional order, signed by maker, directs a certain person to pay a certain sum of money. Remember, the money is specified that how much will be paid, either to a person or on his direction to some other, or to the bearer of the instrument. This is the fourth part. So finally, we can sum it up in this way that every bills of exchange should be signed by the maker, should have a date on it, payment to certain person should be there, okay, and should have been accepted by the drawee. Okay. So what we got again, we see a bills of exchange can be passed to any other person by the process of endorsement. Endorsement means transfer. Endorsement on a bill of exchange is made exactly as is done in case of checks. That means on the back of the instrument, you'll write, like I'll write that on behalf of me, pay this amount of money to this person. Okay. A primary liability on the bill of exchange is that of the acceptor. If he doesn't pay, a holder can recover the amount from any previous endorser or the drawee. Like for example, suppose if A gave a bill to B, B further transferred it to C, C transferred it to D. Now D didn't transfer it. On the due date, what D will do? D will ask this money from C, that pay me this money you said. If D refuses, then D has the power that he can ask the same from B or from A also. Okay. Now moving ahead with respect to accountings and all, this is the specimen of bills of exchange. See, this is how the bills of exchange look like. See, the amount is certain, the date is there, to whom it should have been paid, it's already written here, who has drawn it, the person who actually accept a bill. Like what exactly the thing is. See, suppose if me, Ayush, I was supposed to pay something to, suppose, any one of you, suppose I was supposed to pay something 5,000 rupees to Ria. Suppose. Now, what do you think? Will I go myself to Ria and I'll say, Ria, take this bill and I'll give you this amount of money on a certain date? No. Actually, the thing is, Ria will make a bill. She'll come to me and she'll say, accept it against the payments that are due. Now, what Ria will do? Ria, after getting it signed from me as my acceptance that I'll be paying him, the bill will look like I was writing that I'll pay Ria this much amount of bill, but it will be prepared by Ria, and I will be the acceptor. So remember, the acceptor is actually the drawee, and the person who actually is liable to receive the amount is the drawer of the bill. He draws it. He draws it, get it accepted from the drawee, and takes the money on the due date. What Ria will do? Ria can get this bill discounted from the bank. Bank will deduct certain amount of money and will give the rest of the money to the Ria in good faith. That is some other perspective. We'll discuss this in the later part of this chapter. Now, as per Section 12 of Negotiable Instrument Act, all the instruments which are not inland instruments are considered as foreign. For example, suppose a bill is drawn in India on a person who resides outside India and is it's payable outside India. Suppose Mr. A, he lives in Delhi. He drew a bill on Mr. B, who lives in Dubai, that Mr. B will pay a certain sum of money on a future date in Dubai itself. This type of bills are regarded as foreign bill. Again, if a bill is drawn outside India on a person who resides outside India, that means now both the person are residing outside. Suppose a French people person drawing bill on a German. Next, a bill drawn outside India made payable in India. Now reverse can also be possible. Suppose a foreign student, like the way we had in our college itself. Sometimes people from outside India, they comes to MIT or in various institutes in India and they study. It's not like every time Indian also always goes outside India to study or for further studies. Many a time foreigners also comes to India to study in India. In that way, suppose it if it happens that a person who lives in, suppose in he's living in China, he drew a bill in China which will be payable to, suppose, Amity University, Kolkata. Now this type of bill will also be considered as a foreign bill. Again, a bill which is drawn outside India and made payable outside India. Similar to point number 2. Now we'll see that what exactly the accounting in this respect can be. Okay. Now before doing the accounting, you should know this thing, term of a bill. That means what can be the duration or the life of a bill. Remember, usually a bills of exchange cannot be for a period of more than 90 days from the date of the bill. when a bill is drawn after sight, there can be two types of bill. I'll be telling you about this. After sight, the term of the bill begins to run from the date of its citing. That means when the acceptor signs it or sees it. But if a bill is drawn after date, the term of the bill starts from the date of its drawing. Now what I said, I'll be repeating this again. Bills can be of two types. One is after sight, that means after the acceptor sees a bill, yeah, you have drawn this, okay, I'll be accepting this. And one is after date. After date. Now what is the difference between the two? See, generally what happens, uh, suppose if I draw a bill on Ria and I sent the bill through courier to Ria, because Ria was living in Gujarat, I was living in Calcutta. So we didn't had in this COVID period any chance to meet each other. And as we both were not traveling, so what I did, I sent the bill through courier. She saw the bill and she signed it. Now this transition may take period. So what happened, if the bill is after date, that means I have already specified that I'll start counting the period from the date when I do it. That means from the date which is written on the face of the bill. And it may take to reach to the acceptor. So in case if a bill is after date and we are already started the due dates to be calculated from the date of its drawing, a grace period of 3 days is added to actually determine the due date of the bill. But suppose if the bill is after sight, that means the time Ria will see it, only then the tenure will start. If it takes 3 days, then after 3 days, if it takes 10 days, after 10 days, we'll start calculating the period which is specified in the bill. In that case, no grace period is given. Okay. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on this, we'll be doing some questions right now. After that, we'll move to the accounting perspectives of it. Oh, actually, I've not added the MCQs here. Okay, I'll do that later on. Okay. So I think I already told you about these things. That what is the grace period? Okay. How the maturity date is determined, and what is about bills at site, what it exactly means, and what we means by this term bill after date. Okay. Now, certain points while calculating this that we need to remember. Suppose the time we are calculating the due dates, we should know these 3 points very well. That suppose you calculated the due date with the concept that whether the grace date will be added or not. But after determining it, what you have seen that the date which came is a holiday. It's a public holiday, predetermined public holiday. Like it's 15th August or it's 2nd October. We know these are some of the holidays which are predetermined and existed every year. In that case, what you'll do, the preceding business date, the preceding business date shall be considered as the due date. Okay, but suppose if the due date is declared as an emergency or unforeseen holiday, suppose it was 27th May, or sorry, 27th March 2020, or suppose the due date of a bill was 24th March 2020. I think we all know this, that on 22nd March 2020 we observed what?
Lockdown.
No, it was not a lockdown. Something else. Just tell me the names. Anyone who can tell me what was that? It was Janta curfew. Remember, on this day, everyone was aware at their home, and in the evening, I think lots of people uh, use that thali and all to celebrate that they have successfully refrained from going out of their house. And from the very next day, it was declared as a lockdown. That was the beginning of the lockdown. Now suppose I was supposed to receive an amount of money from Ria on 24th. Then what should I do? The next business day, which in this example will be from 22nd May 2020. It was a long lockdown period for a minimum period of 2 months, and after this, a unlock was initially seen, which again turned into a lockdown. So the preceding business date shall be considered as a due date. But suppose, sorry, in case of emergency, the next following day, business day, shall be considered, which I told it will be 22nd of May. But if it is a predetermined holiday, suppose the due date was on 15th August 2020, and from the very instant you know that this will be a holiday. So what you'll do, you'll reach to the person on 14th August itself, and you'll request him to pay the amount. If he tells you that no, come tomorrow, you'll remind him that no, tomorrow will be an holiday. So pay me the amount right now. Is it clear? So what you need to know, that whether it's a predetermined public holiday or whether it's an emergency. Clear? Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I will talk about the accounting perspectives of it. What entries we need to pass, and in whose books we need to pass this entries. Okay, now see this. Now for this, what accounting entries, what will be the accounting entries in the books? So here, remember, accounting entries depends upon the person in whose books we are actually passing the entries. Like there can be the drawer, the person who has drawn the bill, who is supposed to receive the amount from some other person. The second is the drawee or the acceptor of the bill, who is also the payee because he'll be paying the amount. Okay. And the third is the person, the endorsee, to whom the bill has been endorsed. If we will see that how entries will be passed in this case. Okay, so I'll be dividing it into three parts. Or see, see the first case, when bill is drawn. Okay, now the time when the bill is drawn, this person will take the bill to this person and will tell the drawee, that is the acceptor of the bill, that please accept this, that you will be paying me this much amount of money on this future date. Okay, on that day this person will also pass an entry in his books. What will be the journal entry? See, as this person will be getting a bill against which he'll be receiving some amount of money on a future date, so that bill will be treated as an asset for him. An asset, when received, is debited in the books. So what he'll do, he'll write bills receivable, account debit to drawee account. On the other hand, this drawee will write in his books drawer account debit, because this drawer was a liability to whom the drawee has to pay certain amount of money. Now as he has accepted a bill, this liability has reduced and a new liability has arisen in the books. The new liability's name is bills payable account. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now the second event will occur. Suppose if this person retains the bill, if he keeps the bill with him, he was actually waiting for the time when the bill will become matured. On that day, what will happen? See, the second what I'm writing. If bill is retained, this is a case. Then on due date, there can be two types of event. If the bill is honored, honored means this drawer went to the drawee to ask for his money and the drawee paid the amount. On that day, if the amount is received, what this person will do, he'll debit cash or bank account as he is receiving the amount, and will credit the asset against which this amount has been received, which is bills receivable account. Okay. On the same time, this drawer, what he will do in his books, he will write what this person will do, you just see. This person will write in his books bills payable account debit. Why? Because now he is paying for this liability. As liability decreases, we debit it to cash or bank account. Now suppose, but if he doesn't honors it, if not honored, that is what we call it as dishonor. What is the consequence of dishonor? That you can study in section 138 of Negotiable Instrument Act. In your career, where you'll be following this law as a profession, you'll see a number of cases being filed by one person or another under this section 138 itself. Okay. Now, if he doesn't pays, then what will happen? This person drawer needs to cancel this entry from the books. And in such case, what he will do, he'll write this entry, the reverse of the above. Drawer account debit to bills receivable account. And this person will also cancel the first entry. Remember, the second entry is an alternative. Either this entry you'll be passing or this entry you'll be passing. Till now, only the first entry is in your books. Only the first entry is there in your books. So if you have passed it and you cannot pass it, so what you will be doing, you will be cancelling the first entry. And to cancel the first entry, what entry you will be passing in the books? It will be bills payable account debit to drawer account. Clear?
So it will be drawing account debit to bills receivable.
Which one?
First one.
Yeah, in the first case, yeah.
So it's drawer account, it's written.
Oh, sorry. It will be drawer account. Yeah, it's drawer account debit to DR. Okay. Now, what if before the bill gets matured, this person, the drawee, the acceptor, has endorsed the bill to someone else? In such case, there will be some additional entries during this period. We'll treat it as a separate case. Okay, not right now. Right now, we are taking the most simplest case where we see that what to do if a bill is drawn and retained till the date of its maturity. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, if a bill is drawn, does the drawee need to pay it on the date of maturity or can pay before that?
No. Generally, people doesn't pay before it becomes due. Like for example, suppose you have to pay a fee for your semesters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Have you paid all the fee right now? or you'll be waiting for the semester to end and the next semester to start when the college will mail you that now your next fee is due. You pay at that point of time or you pay in advance?
No, sir, I pay at the time.
Yeah. In the same way, suppose if you have to make a payment to a person on some future day, why you will pay it right now? Right now you have an option. You can keep that money. If you have a ready cash, then also you'll what you'll do, you'll keep that money. You'll get uh, what you'll do, you'll keep that amount in a account. You have an opportunity to earn certain amount of interest during this period. Okay, because if you pay in it in advance, then also you don't get anything extra. But I'll tell you that suppose if it is a case, if you paid, then what to do? Nothing. Okay, will pass the entries which was supposed to pass on the date of maturity before or on the date when the actual payment was made. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you see this question right now and try. Okay, you see case number 2 and tell me whether you can do it or not. Just a minute. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Tell me. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. Anyone have any question?
No, sir.
So can you solve this question? Tell me the answer. See, on January 1st, 2016, Rao sold 10,000 goods worth rupees 10,000 to Reddy. Okay. Tell me, what will be the first entry in the books of Rao and Reddy?
Sir, we have to make both Rao and Reddy's account or only Rao's account?
You have to pass journal entries in both the books. Tell me, what will be the entries?
Sir, first entry should be sir bills receivable account debit to Rao's Reddy's account.
Okay, let me show you.
First, sir, first will be sales account debit.
Yeah. See, the time I'll start with this. I'll be creating books. I'll be writing the heading in the books of Rao and in the books of Reddy. Okay, two separate books of accountings. I'm showing you that what will be the scenarios in each of those. Okay, now see here, on 1st January 2016, Rao sold the goods to Reddy. That means what the seller will do on 1st January 2016, he'll be writing in his books Reddy, that is the debtor account debit to sales 10,000. And what the purchaser will do on the same day, he'll pass in his books the entry of credit purchase, which is purchase account debit to Rao. Okay, next, on the very same day, half of the payment was made. Now what you can do here, you could have merged it with the above entry, or you can pass it as a separate entry. Okay, but the better is if you do it with the above entry only. Half of the amount was paid and half of the amount was converted into bills that will be payable after 30 days. So what you can do here, you can add one extra amount account on both the entries. Like here, you can add cash account, on the debit side, because you have received half of the amount and half of was on credit, and he has paid half of the amount in cash. That means on this entry he'll be writing 5,000, 5,000. Now for 5,000 he has drawn a bill. What they will do on the same date, they will create the first entry that I've written. What he'll do, he'll write in his books bills receivable, because he'll be getting money against this bill. That's why he is naming it as bills receivable. And against it, an asset has been decreased, which is Reddy account. In the same way, what this person will do, he will also create a liability in his books and will write like raw account debit to bills payable account 5k 5k. Next, what they said, you just read it. Uh, on the due date, Rao presented the bill to Reddy and received the payment. That means he has duly honored it. Now, therefore, after 30 days from this date, remember, including this date, we'll calculate 30 days and we'll add 3 days of grace also. So it will be 30th of January, then 31st, 1st January, and 1st Feb, 2nd Feb. So the due date was 2nd of Feb 2016, and on that day he will pass in his books cash account debit to bills receivable because he has received duly the amount on the due date, and this again will be of 5,000. On the same date, this person, what he'll do, he'll write in his books bills payable account debit to cash account 5k. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So guys, we'll continue with